Let's talk about the word shock. When you hear it, you probably think of a jump scare in a movie, maybe a surprise party. But in a hospital, that word means something completely different, something far, far more serious. Today, we're going to dive into what's really happening inside the body during this critical medical event.
It's a huge difference, right? On one hand, you've got an emotional jolt, but on the other, a doctor is thinking about a catastrophic system-wide failure. It's this life-threatening version, the circulatory collapse, that we're going to break down.
So, what exactly is medical shock? To really get it, we have to go right to the heart of the problem, to where the crisis actually begins. Okay, at its absolute core, shock is a failure of something called perfusion. Now, that's just a medical term for blood flow getting to your tissues. When that flow fails, your cells are literally being starved of the oxygen and nutrients they need to function and to survive. It's as simple and as serious as that. And you can imagine the domino effect. It's like a traffic jam on a highway. The good stuff, oxygen, nutrients, can't get in, and just as bad, all the metabolic waste products can't get out. This creates a toxic environment that leads straight to cellular injury, and if it's not fixed fast, cell death. Now, this crisis can be kicked off in a few different ways. A really good way to think about it is to picture your circulatory system like a city's water supply. For it to work, you need three things: enough water in the pipes, good, solid pipes, and a working pump. If any one of those fails, the whole city is in big trouble. And that analogy lines up perfectly with the four main types of shock. First, you've got hypovolemic shock. That's a volume problem, not enough fluid in the pipes, usually from severe bleeding or dehydration. Then there's distributive shock. Here, the pipes themselves are the problem. They get leaky or way too wide, and blood pressure just plummets. A classic example is a severe allergic reaction. Third is cardiogenic shock, and that's a pump problem. The heart itself is failing. And finally, you have obstructive shock, where something is physically blocking the whole system, like a big clot in your lungs. But here's where things get really incredible. The moment your body senses this massive failure, it does not just give up. It triggers a system-wide red alert. It is an all-out, no-holds-barred fight for survival. And this response is unbelievably fast. Tiny little sensors in your arteries feel the blood pressure drop, and they hit the panic button. That alarm goes straight to the brain, which responds by flooding your body with hormones like adrenaline, the famous fight-or-flight hormone. This instantly makes your heart beat faster and harder, and it clamps down on your blood vessels, all in a desperate attempt to force that blood pressure back up. And this is the brilliant part. Your body is making a choice. It's performing triage on itself. The entire response is laser-focused on one single mission: sacrifice blood flow to less important areas to save the two organs you absolutely cannot live without: your brain and your heart. And believe me, that initial adrenaline rush is just the opening act. Your brain then coordinates this massive hormonal flood. It screams for stress hormones. It tells the kidneys to hold on to every last drop of water, and it unleashes other potent chemicals to squeeze those blood vessels even tighter. It's a full-on chemical war to keep the whole system from collapsing. But, and this is a huge but, these heroic defenses can't go on forever. If the root cause of the shock isn't fixed, the body's incredible fight for survival starts to sputter out. And even worse, the defenses themselves can start to cause more harm than good. You see, this whole thing happens in stages. At first, the body is in compensated shock. All those defense systems are firing, and blood pressure is holding on. But if the problem continues, you enter the progressive stage. Now the defenses are failing, cells are starving, and organ damage really starts to pick up speed. This can lead to the final tragic stage: irreversible shock, where the damage is so widespread that the system simply can't recover. This is what's known as the vicious cycle. As the organs start to fail, they actually release toxic substances back into the blood, which poisons the system and makes the shock even worse. The heart muscle weakens, the blood vessels give out, and the body spirals downward, feeding the very fire it's trying to put out. So, faced with this catastrophic downward spiral, how on earth do doctors fight back? Well, it becomes a frantic rescue mission. It's an absolute race against time to support the body's defenses while trying to fix the original problem. The medical response plan really mirrors the problems we've just talked about. First and foremost, you have to fix the primary cause, stop the bleeding, treat the infection, whatever it is. At the same time, you have to support the system. So doctors pump in IV fluids to refill those pipes. They use powerful medications to help the failing heart pump stronger.
And all the while, they're working to fix the massive chemical imbalances in the blood. It's a multi-front battle to pull the body back from the edge. When you really break it down, shock shows us this amazing, invisible balancing act that our body is performing every single second. It's a stark reminder of just how fragile that balance is and the extraordinary, incredible lengths the body will go to just to preserve life. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other silent, automatic battles are being fought inside you right now just to keep everything running?